So, 10th edition of Warhammer 40,000 is coming out soon. And with it, they're resetting all of the codices again, and they've been releasing these faction focuses on each of the factions. Let's see here. If we scroll down here, so Space Marines, so these are all the ones that have faction focuses up right now. The Orcs one literally just came out. The Thousand Suns one is going to be in, I think, a couple days. But it's just kind of a quick look at a stratagem, a couple weapons, and then a couple data sheets with like the army rules, so you kind of get the vibe of the army. So I'm gonna read it, and then we're gonna talk about it. So starting with Astra Militarum, or Imperial Guard. The Imperium is mind-bogglingly vast, under constant attack from unknowable terrors within and without, and it is only by the daily sacrifice of innumerable Astra Militarum troopers that the darkness is held back. The Imperial Guard is the only organization enormous enough to protect humanity's realm from one galactic edge to the other, built upon the blood and grit of the men and women who hold the line against aliens, mutants, and heretics. So again, this is the same line. I'm pretty sure this might literally be ripped directly from the 9th edition codex. Same basic primer on the Imperial Guard. They're the average person in the Imperium's military. They are your G.I. Joe or your G.I. Jane. And then, with the new Tyranid invasion bursting out from an unexpected quarter, the Astra Militarum are harder pressed than ever, but they do have the bulwark of some tasty new rules. One ordinary mortal can't hope to stand against the galaxy's worst nightmares alone, and the commanders of the Astra Militarum know this well. Synergy is the name of their game, so bellowing officers demand the best from their troops while artillery thunders and tanks bury the foe in high-explosive mayhem. The across-the-board boost in vehicle toughness, that is a really good thing for the Imperial Guard, because they really like their tanks. It is a gift from the Emperor himself. The Leman Russ and the Baneblade are both armored up, backed up by double-size units of guardsmen. Oh shit. They present an impenetrable wall of steel that few foes will have the power to break through. So now guardsmen are ran in squads of 20 instead of squads of 10. That's scary. Having Hearthkin squads of 20 but guard squads of 10, that makes sense. That does make sense. It does, however, and the reason why they did limit the squad count before was because of how objective contesting worked, because they didn't want a situation where you just had like a million infantrymen on a single objective and the opponent just physically couldn't kill enough of them to eat you off of that objective before the end of the game. But now that's no longer a thing, so they can increase the squad size of the units by a lot, hopefully. They might be expendable mortals thrown into hellish war zones with little more than a last gun and a prayer, but the Imperial Guard have one thing that makes them the envy of foul aliens and vile heretics of the galaxy over: a highly skilled, much loved, and totally meritocratic officer class. But here we have the Army Special Rule. This, like a lot of the Army rules, is largely unchanged from 8th and 9th editions. Units with the officer keyword can issue one of these orders. The one thing that is different is that it seems like all orders are issued in the command phase. Yep, because in your command phase, officer models from your army with this ability can issue orders. Yeah. So before, the way it worked was that in 8th edition, at least, I'm not sure about 9th edition. I'm pretty sure in 9th edition as well, though. But in 8th edition, at least, orders were basically like free stratagems, but they were also based on what phase you were in. So you issued the fixed bayonets order in the fight phase, I think. So the orders are also largely the same. So it's just move. It's add 3 inches to the move characteristic of models in this unit. This one is easily the best one, and and I can say why. Because in war games, no, in a lot of war games, speed is everything. If you are able to get to the objective first, you are able to, basically dictate the pace of the battle. You're able to decide who's attacking and who's defending in any specific point, because if you have more movement than the opponent, your units are simply more adaptable to whatever situation they find themselves in at that present moment. Because you can run away, or you can move in, or you can get to different flanks faster, that kind of thing. And now, because of move, guardsmen are actually one of the fastest infantry in the game. And it's kind of intense. Fix bayonets. Improve the weapon skill characteristic of melee weapons equipped by models in this unit by 1. So this is cool. Then everything else is kind of just increase X thing by 1. So like increase leadership and objective control by 1. Increase save characteristic by 1. Increase attacks characteristic of rapid fire weapons by 1. Yeah. So it's basically just pick a thing to have +1 on per command phase. However, the tricky thing that they say here is each officer's datasheet will specify how many orders it can issue and which units are eligible to receive those orders. I think that's sick, because what it means is that you might have reason to take certain commanders for different kinds of infantry, or for like different kinds of builds, you know? Because it doesn't have to be infantry. It seems like, yeah. So, yeah, it doesn't specify anywhere that it has to be infantry. So if you have a tank commander, then he can maybe issue orders to like tanks. But then if you have a commissar, then he can issue orders to, guardsmen, and you have a so on and so forth, right? I hope this is going to make the internal balance of Imperial Guard HQ choices a lot better, because you have reasons to take a wide variety of HQs. You want to have as many things be able to take orders as possible, because there's no resource tied to orders. You can just do it for as many officers as you have in your army. Then we have the unit spotlights. This is where we talk about. So this is where we talk about the unit here. So let's do this. List up. All right. So this is regular Cadian shock troops. They can now go up to 20. Oh, if they take 20 guys, they can have 2 sergeants. Oh, no, I see why. Okay. Because the way you get 20 shock troopers is you buy 2 of the boxes, and so then you have 2 sergeants, and so then you build both of the okay, I see what you're doing there. I see what you're doing there, you piece of shit. Oh my god. Cadian shock troops have an OC of 2? So that means with duty and honor, they can get to OC 3? Jesus Christ. That is incredibly high. Or at least it seems incredibly high based on the other data sheets we've seen. Casual 60 OC. No. So the way it works is that the unit just, as a unit, has 2 OC. So whether it has 20 guys or 10 guys, it still has a quote OC value of 2. Because that's the unit's OC. So that seems silly. Well, no, I don't think so. Because if the main thing that this was trying to address, the main thing that this OC value system was trying to address was really dumb interactions based on the objective secured rule and things that don't have objective secured. So, like, as an example, if you're playing Imperial Knights, you basically couldn't hold objectives, because all they had to do was get literally one guy onto that objective, and then, well, you're shit out of luck. You know, you just lose that objective because fuck you. You know, because you're only one model, and that guardsman is also one model, but at the same time, one guardsman or 20 guardsmen are not going to be able to hold an objective against a single knight. It's just not possible. They're not going to actually hold that objective, you know? And this was a big issue with 8th and 9th edition, and in 9th edition, the solution was kind of just to give everything objective controlled. Equally good at controlling an objective at 10 or 20 guys. Well, you're not wrong. Like, yeah, it is definitely a little strange that they're equally good at controlling an objective at 10 or 20 guys, but if you think about it, if we think about it from like a gameplay perspective, I think it'll make the game better. I think this is the correct path to take. I think having that be the case is the better choice for the game, because then what happens if you don't do that is you essentially have, like, you know, 20 guys. Like, what happens when we have an entire, like, a grand tournament be won by a dude running, like, over 100 grots, and then he just piles all the grots onto the objective, and then he just wins? Like, that doesn't seem fair, you know? So this is just another knob for GW to adjust to help bring in line the internal balance of certain factions, and also just the external balance as well. Yeah. Let's actually look at the weapons, though. Bolt pistol, drum fed autogun. Okay, so these are all. Okay, so they still hit. So Cadians still hit on 4s. Let's look at the lasgun. Lasgun is rapid fire 1. Okay, 4 up, 3 strength, AP 0, D1. Oh! Cadian shock troops lost exploding 6s. Okay, that's interesting. That's very interesting. Okay. Yeah, they lost auto wounding on 6s with their lasgun. Okay, that's good. That's good. I think that's good, because that made Cadian shock troops way too bursty, in my opinion. All this looks good. It's basically identical to the way it was before. So let's move on to the Bane Blade. That's the one that's going to be changed the most, you know? Again, it has 24 wounds and 13 toughness. It has 13 toughness. That's a lot. That is actually... Yeah, okay, so that's a level of toughness and also save that does mean that you are going to need to use, like, dedicated anti-tank weapons to kill these things. That's the good thing. I like that. I think it's good to have a scenario where you have to use anti-tank weapons to kill tanks, basically. Because otherwise, like, why bring tanks? And that was always the big question. Nobody brought tanks in 8th and 9th edition because they always just died to focus fire. There were very few times when any, like, vehicle spam unit for any army was ever viable, and that's, like, fucking mostly for Eldar. But there was a very brief period of time during ninth edition where you basically had to spam vehicles as Imperial Guard before their ninth edition codex came out because all of their tanks had Armor of Contempt. Let's actually, before we let's look at the weapons. Jesus Christ, these are some fucking strength stats, dude. My God, I guess you have to now because of how tanky all these vehicles are. Yeah, okay. Other people can, like, other infantry can use the Baneblade as cover. That's cool. I like that. Model has 1 to 8, subtract 4 from its objective control statistic, and subtract 1. Wait. Tanks too? Oh, that's gonna be terrifying. Oh no. Baneblade's just like ferrying Leman Russ's into fucking, oh no. Oh no. Oh, that's terrifying. And then obviously it brackets at 1 to 8 wounds remaining. Auspex Tactics made a vid on it. I'm sure he did. That man's a fucking lunatic, dude. Actually, let's not talk about that. But like it's so insane to me how Auspex Tactics just like does not stop making videos. Like I'm convinced he has Sony Vegas like hooked up to his brain, because he gets like fully scripted, like really quite well written and insightful videos out super fucking quickly. It's insane. All right, and then the Leman Russ battle cannon. To end it off, we look at the Leman Russ battle cannon. The range is 48 inches. That's intense because that means it has a range that's the entire board length. Yeah, no, same with the Baneblade. Okay, so weapons that are longer than the table itself are actually like a thing now. Okay. And then D6 plus 3, that's good. D6 weapons are bad. I don't like it when a weapon is just D6 damage because it's super swingy. But when it's D6 plus 3, it's at least reliable that you're going to get 4 damage, which is nice. And then the average is like 4 plus 3, 7 damage. And so, like, it being plus 3, the one with the Repulsor Executioner. Oh, well, yeah, I know that, like, there were some weapons that were 72 inch, but not the Baneblade cannon. They seem to be significantly more common now, is what I'm saying. But, making D6 damage weapons more reliable by making them plus 3 as well. And then 4 ballistic skill strength 10, AP minus 1, D3. That seems good. Volcano Cannon, yep, that is suitably Volcano Cannon-y. It is literally meant to hunt Titans, and that is certainly a Titan hunting weapon. So, yeah, Jesus Christ. Yeah, Strength 24, fucking nuts. Fucking nuts. Opening shit up like can openers. But here's the thing, though. The fact that it's Strength 24... means that there's going to be units in the game that are toughness 24. And I'm just wondering what those are going to be. Maybe knights? Maybe knights. I haven't looked at knights yet. All right, and then for the stratagem spotlight, wait. Are you fucking kidding me? Oh my God. So with this stratagem, you can have the same squad of infantry die and then repeatedly come back from strategic reserves like a couple, like at least 4 times per game. That is insane. That is gonna be tough, because it's not even, no, it's not even, or wait, does regiment, hold on. Regiment, when it says regiment, okay, so Baneblades can't. Okay, so it's probably not going to be tanks, but infantry at least, yeah. So So yeah, that's kind of fucking intense. Cav probably too. Maybe, yeah. Maybe Sentinels. I don't know. We'll have to see. I really wish they'd just give us the fucking indexes already, man. Okay, so I've read it all now. Okay, so as James from the Warhammer Design Studio told us, with the combined regiment detachment, we wanted to evoke an Astra Militarum force, drawing on all of its human courage to stand firm against the foe. Okay, yeah. So basically, what they've done here, what they've tried to do here, and what I think they've actually succeeded at very well, is they've tried to make, they've tried to make the Imperial Guard more of a combined arms force. Because in 9th edition, and to a lesser extent in 8th edition, essentially what you did was you picked a type of unit, and then you spammed a shitload of that. So you either played Infantry Imperial Guard, or you played Tank Imperial Guard, but you didn't always run both, you know? It was more about making themed, like, mono-style armies, where this seems to be focusing specifically on making an army that is as diverse as possible, that's drawing on as much of the codex as possible, which is both good for business and also good for the game, in my opinion, right? Because we should not be... I think that's more thematic for the old one. I don't know. I mean, because we see examples in lore of both combined arms regiments. Well, but we also see combined arms regiments, though. Like, we also see those. Like, we see those in the books. Yeah, but they're always very specific worlds. Well, yeah. And I do think, guardsmen, like, them removing, like, named regiments just so that people would stop complaining about them not, like, making models for them anymore. I think that I think that's hurt the codex, in my opinion, because it doesn't have as much flavor. Still gonna complain. Yeah, no, like, it didn't actually stop people from being mad that you weren't making Talarn models. It just made them want Talarn models and made them painfully aware that you were just ignoring them. But no, I think this is successful at what it's trying to do from what we've seen, and I think it's going to make a more internally balanced sort of codex in a way that's really nice. Because what ends up happening, right, is that when you have an army that's like, you take all of one kind of unit, and that's like your army, what ends up happening is that one list ends up just beating out all the others, you know? Like, back when, like, Imperial Guard armor spam was the most powerful list you could run with Imperial Guard, it literally wasn't a contest. There was nothing. There was nothing that that infantry heavy Imperial Guard lists could do to keep up. And so everyone just switched to playing full tank armies. And that's not good, in my opinion. It's not good if most of a codex gets ignored. So I think they've done a good job of that. However, our break is up. So next break, we're going to be discussing the Adeptus Sororitas. But first, we must continue to rip and tear. I've had my break. Knights have 10 toughness? Ooh, gross. Okay, that's just excessive then. Okay. Maybe it actually literally is for hunting titans. Maybe they're gonna make titans fieldable on the tabletop outside of apocalypse games or something. I don't know.